What if I were to say to you that you cannot love well if you are not well? Makes sense, right? Take just a couple minutes to close your eyes and take a quick inventory of what is going on in your internal world. How well is it? And then think about how that is impacting all of the relationships around you. Your spouse, your children, your family and friends, your church environment, your work environment. How are all of those relationships being impacted by what's going on in you? Some ways we are not well include codependency. When we make it a priority to save someone else from their own behavior, when we are covering up their stuff to make life easy or to make them happy, serving them at our own expense. When we have a worldview that precludes any ability to see outside of ourselves. When you filter everything through your own grid of understanding. When you can't see outside of your own perspective, or you try to make sense of other people through your own perspective. When you assume you know what's going on rather than communicating out loud. Oftentimes what we fill in the gaps when we don't understand, when we're just assuming, again, it's us making a decision, a judgment call about what's going on based purely on our own perspective. When you're not able to say what you need to say because of fear, because you don't have the words to say, or you're not aware of what you need to say. When you are silenced and put in a position to where you have to live life really sitting down, shutting up, and doing what you're told. When we are consumed by our emotions, whether it's super negative or super positive or none at all. Unhealthy emotions that drive us can put us in really precarious, unhealthy positions. When you are looking to others to tell you your worth, your value, your beauty, your contribution to life, when you're looking for them to tell you your purpose and your meaning, that actually often leads to really fierce self-protection, especially because the dichotomy is that you're looking to them to tell you who you are, but it's not resonating with who you really are. And so you begin to protect that sense of what you really know to be true in you, which ends up looking like common adrenaline responses of fighting, freezing, or flighting, which in essence is actually hiding. Because as you're doing any of those responses, it's about deflecting from really knowing you. It sabotages connection because you are hiding the real you. You're not allowing people to respond to the real you because you're protecting it. And it always fosters fear. And where there is love, there is no fear. There's no fear in love, right? But when you're living in a place of self-protection, everything feels like fear. And it's the fear of being found out or of ruining a reputation, of that knowing the real you is not going to be accepted and that you will be abandoned or rejected. So what do you do to be well? I think one of the biggest ways to start is learning how to use authenticity and vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness. When you know who you are and you can be real and raw and walk in the truth of who you are, now you're offering to people a real you to respond to, which is the only way there can be real deep connection in a relationship. So you've got to build your sense of purpose and direction. You've got to build that sense of who am I and where am I going? What is your purpose in life? How has God designed, called, and purposed you to leave his mark on the world? And learn to speak that and to live that. When you know who you are and where you're going, it enables you to be much more grounded and not so driven and tossed by your circumstances or what the people around you say of you. In the context of your relationships, learning how to be collaborative, where you take what you've got to work with, the real you, the real them, take what you've got to work with and talk about how to make this work together to bring connection and maintain connection so that you do have a relationship. It doesn't mean that either of you become the other person. It just means you learn how to be resilient in taking what you've got to work with, being creative about it, and making it work for the two of you to live out who you are authentically and still be connected in a relationship together. Being well isn't just about making the relationship change. Being well is the journey of your life. It's a constant journey for all of us. It's about learning to figure out how you want to show up in the world and leave a mark on it the way God designed, called, and purposed you to. It's a journey and a destination.